If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. Good evening, and welcome back, poetry lovers. This is ZM Wise, and here I am with another home recording just for you. Tonight's book review is on this recent self-published book called Uncollected Lyric Poems and Epigrams of William Blake. And I say self-published because, well, first of all, the spine has no title. I can see somebody used CreateSpace or a similar service. Never mind. Another service. And also, the there is, of course, no copyright date on this one, or copyright year rather, but at least it does have an ISBN number. And from the table of contents, it just goes straight into the poems. No introduction or foreword or anything. It's probably the only thing I have against this book, but other than that, it's a pretty healthy sampling of his lesser-known work. And whenever I read a poet's uncollected or unpublished work, for me it's sort of like listening to B-sides or rarities of one of my favorite artists' albums. That's how I see it anyway. This is the stuff that no one pays attention to. The little quote from the beginning stemmed from his book called The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, and sort of mixes poetry and prose. And so, in the table of contents, there are some lesser-known pieces, but, well, most of it contains lesser-known pieces, but some of the pieces that I did recognize were The Mental Traveler. That one is very prophetic on its own. And then, of course, Auguries of Innocence. Remember that one? There are also some first drafts of certain pieces from Songs of Innocence and of Experience in here. First drafts. I thought that was a great honor. And some of them were shorter, maybe 2 or 3 stanzas each. And then after the songs from An Island in the Moon, one of his other better-known works, goes into the epigrams, and split into 2 different sections: epigrams on art and artists, and epigrams on friends and enemies. So, what I'm going to do is read a couple of excerpts that really speak to me, personally. So as a romantic sap, this is one of my favorites, and it's called Never Seek to Tell Thy Love. Never seek to tell thy love, love that never told can be, for the gentle wind does move, silently, invisibly. I told my love, I told my love, I told her all my heart, trembling, cold, in ghastly fears. Ah, she doth depart. Soon as she was gone from me, a traveller came by, silently, invisibly. He took her with a sigh. That one really cuts like a knife to me. It really does. I found this short one to be very, very decent, and this is actually called the motto to the Songs of Innocence and of Experience. The good are attracted by men's perceptions, and think not for themselves, till experience teaches them to catch and to cage the fairies and elves. And then the knave begins to snarl, and the hypocrite to howl, and all his good friends show their private ends, and the eagle is known from the owl. And that one, to me, it's sort of a transition from childhood to adulthood, hence the 2 sections, innocence and experience. And it mixes fantastical elements with the more realistic situational pieces. So that is what I think of the motto. I think that's really nice how he put a motto to the poem. It's wonderful. And this edition contains all of Blake's shorter poems which were not included in poetical sketches or Songs of Innocence and of Experience. And most were found in his notebooks and papers after his death. And together they offer a fascinating insight into his radical views and his often scathing opinions about his contemporaries, William Wordsworth, Shelley, many more. All the poems from the famous Pickering manuscript and from the Rossetti manuscript are included. It's a very lovely book. Definitely, you should definitely buy this. I think you should. I'm pretty sure, however, that these are included in. If you see, let me see that orange book that I'm pointing to, that big thick one. That's the complete poetry and prose of William Blake. Pretty sure this is in there, but I do value his uncollected work just as much as the better-known pieces like Milton, Jerusalem, Marriage of Heaven and Hell, and of course Songs of Innocence and of Experience. And if you have not heard it yet, in the 70s, after a certain experience that Allen Ginsberg had, he actually set those pieces to music. It was brilliant. He even asked Charles Mingus to perform on the album with him, but he declined. Very unfortunate. So I'm just going to read a couple of his epigrams, and some of these are pretty... they're pretty witty. I love it when he mentions his own name at times. I didn't figure Blake as a poet to do that, but, you know, who am I to judge? You know, nothing's really shocking anymore. Let me see here. So, trying to find a great one. Great epigram. And this is from the section Epigrams on Art and Artists. Oh god, I just lost it. It's a brilliant one. Ah, okay. So this is number 22. Pitiful Case. The villain at the gallows tree, when he is doomed to die, to assuage his misery, in virtue's praise does cry. So Reynolds, when he came to die, to assuage his bitter woe, thus aloud did howl and cry, Michelangelo! Michelangelo! Love it! And if you did not know, Michelangelo wrote brilliant poetry too, or in some cases, Michelangelo. And the very last one, 34. Call that the public voice, which is their error, like as a monkey peeping in a mirror, admires all his colors brown and warm, and never once perceives his ugly form. I thought that one was more philosophical as well. Wrote a couple great epitaphs as well. And those were simultaneously witty and a tad morbid, as they are. And then some of the epigrams, they go into his personal friends and family. This is probably my favorite epitaph, and it's just called Another. It's number 10. Here lies John Trott, the friend of all mankind. He has not left one enemy behind. Friends were quite hard to find, old authors say, but now they stand in everybody's way. Yes, so buy your copy. The Uncollected Lyric Poems and Epigrams by William Blake. So, if you like what you have seen, there are other book reviews on my channel. Subscribe and watch, peruse, take a look around. And I'm also on Twitter. Follow me on that social media. And I am also on Tumblr, zmysthepoet.tumblr.com. You can find these videos. I post there some personal blurbs and thoughts. Also the text to my published poems as well. And most importantly, I'm on Amazon. Buy my 4 books. And I am also trying to find homes for 4 other manuscripts as we speak. So, all fingers crossed. What else am I missing? Ah, yes. Poetry lives.